a hole in the world like a great black pit, and the vermin of the world inhabit it, and its morals aren't worth what a pig could spit, and it goes by the name of London. At the top.
Welcome to the Perfect Movie Podcast, the podcast where we answer the question, what's inside those meat pies?
No one knows.
I'm Michael.
I'm Kalen.
And today, we are covering Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street.
Sweeney Todd.
Pretty woman. Sweeney Todd is a film by Tim Burton, and he's the next in our series of Halloween gothic films that we'll be covering during our Halloween series. We've done Donnie Darko.
Harry Potter.
We covered Midnight Mass.
Yes.
And now we're here with Sweeney Todd. Kalen, you were, I think, the person that brought this film to the table.
Yes.
Tell me why.
I watched it for the first time sometime last year, and I was like, why the hell have I never seen this? And I was kind of shocked by how gory it was, because it was like a musical, and usually you don't get a lot of blood and stuff in your musicals.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really interesting, and then I watched it again on my flight home from LA, and I was like, this movie's pretty good. It might be a good Halloween film to do. So, and I knew you hadn't seen it before, so I thought it was a good one to check out.
And with the roaring success of Joker Folie à Deux, the idea of musicals that are also like these movies about these like power couples that commit heinous acts.
Yeah.
It's very in right now.
Right.
So great idea, Kalen. I'd never seen Sweeney Todd, and I think that was mostly, a time thing because this is a rated R movie and it came out when I would have been like 13. But also, I didn't have any interest in seeing it. Well, a musical.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, I guess I'm more open to musicals than I would have been as like a teenager when this came out.
Yeah.
But that, as well as this was the time where we were so overserved with Johnny Depp.
Yes.
Between Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Well, this came out in 2007, so it was like right at the cusp of it.
Yeah, and just before this, Tim Burton makes Alice in Wonderland, and he's the Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
Just after this, they make... I might have swapped that. I think just after this, they make Alice in Wonderland, and just before this, they make Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
And then there's a vampire movie.
Dark Shadows.
Dark Shadows, yeah. It's just a bunch of movies with Johnny Depp looking weird and being a weirdo and doing all these character. I cannot talk today. These different caricatures.
No way. This is going to be tough because it's kind of your one job right now is to be talking.
I'm just going to keep swinging my water here, bud.
What's in that bottle?
Vodka.
I never watched Sweeney Todd as a teen. I just watched it for the first time yesterday. It is quite, it's really cool. And it's sandwiched between those two Tim Burton movies, which I don't like. Alice in Wonderland and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder, like, why is this one good? And why are those bad? And I think a lot of that just has to do with the subject matter they adapted from.
Sure.
And the intended audience. This is a very adult film. Those two are more like maybe some of the kids come see Alice in Wonderland, come see Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
But this worked for me a lot more than I expected, and we can get more into what and why.
Should we say this is also a Broadway musical and a book? So the source material has been around for a while. One thing I wanted to say about Tim Burton, real quick, instantly recognizable as far as like just the look of his films and stuff. I just appreciate that about him. You don't kind of know what you're getting into. For the most part.
And this is like one of the good examples of late era Tim Burton, because there's like the 80s and 90s era of Tim Burton where a lot of the stuff that he's doing is with like puppets and matte paintings and in-camera effects.
Some of it's got some of that digital stank, though, that I don't really like.
There's one scene in particular where I'm like, this is the hideous Tim Burton of the late 2000s that I'm expecting.
For sure.
But most of this movie looks really great. If you've never seen Sweeney Todd or not familiar with the story, it's the story of a man who was like a jealous judge, saw him and his wife out. He had this man taken and arrested, Johnny Depp's character, and sent off to Australia under false pretenses, and then he's back 15 years later to try to like gather his life back together and take revenge against those who wronged him.
And I think he thinks that his wife died. We kind of discover more about her character later on in the film, different things like that. He also has a daughter, and so there's like the creepy judge is creeping on his daughter now. So there's a lot of that. But
yeah, so with that, shall we get into the performance test?
It was the performance of a lifetime.
Yeah, obviously Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp is good at playing these types of characters. He kind of like immerses himself into these types of roles, but at the same time too, it's kind of like saying like Leonardo DiCaprio syndrome, where it's like, this is Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I don't get as fully invested in his characters. Like maybe Jack Sparrow, I did.
You know, crazy for Johnny Depp was if he took like Robert Downey Jr.'s role in Oppenheimer, and he was just like a normal guy.
Right.
That would be crazy for Johnny Depp now.
Right.
You know, because he's been all these loony
wacky
characters
yeah.
for years on years on years. And I mean, it takes advantage of his skills. And this, this is a great part for him. But yeah, he certainly has like pressed the go big button many times in his career.
Right.
And I think this one we maybe performance test and It's an Art will bleed into each other because it's a musical, and a lot of the stuff, it's a true blue musical.
Yeah.
It is like, I think the first words we hear are sung.
Yeah.
And a lot of this movie is singing.
Did they do the same thing that they did in Les Mis, where it was like they actually recorded them singing while they were filming?
I'm pretty sure it's more of a standard process where they're lip syncing. Later on. But yeah, Johnny Depp, I didn't know if like I never heard him sing before, and he's not like he's not like Hugh Jackman, who you're like, oh, this guy is a musical star.
Yeah.
But he's very he does just fine.
Yeah, he was great, I thought. Yeah.
Another Tim Burton regular, Helena Bonham Carter,
she
aka his ex-wife, I think.
Yeah, probably. She just plays a weird bitch in every movie she's in. Kind of like the same character in almost everything. She's the same character like in Les Mis.
A weird bitch in a corset.
Yeah, who might be a prostitute.
Yeah. She's the purveyor of the meat pies that we mentioned in the intro.
Yeah.
Eventually, they sort of form a bond early on as Johnny Depp just kind of wanders into the shop. I think because it was the site of the last place he's seen his wife.
Yes.
In that courtyard, and she kind of gives him the plot download that his wife had poisoned herself, and Johnny Depp assumes she's dead.
And she kind of like falls in love with him. He doesn't really show that love back, but he obviously cares for her in some aspect. I actually kind of laugh at some of the scenes where there was like that one scene where it was kind of like the Little Pet Shop of Horrors scene where she was kind of like dreaming of a life they could have. In every shot, like Johnny Depp is just sitting there, just like his face is just like no emotion or whatever. It was pretty funny. But yeah, she was great. She had a pretty decent voice too. Yeah. That really like Cockney accent or whatever.
One of the standout songs, at least for me, sequences, is when they are sort of concocting the final like version of their plan, where they're like the business above will feed the business below.
Yeah.
Sweeney Todd's desire to murder and take vengeance on anybody around. He will murder people, and then they will be sent down to like the baking room, and then they will be baked into the meat pies.
Yeah.
And they're all doing this while they just kind of like look out their window and just point to different people and be like, "What about the baker? How or you know?"
They're like, "Oh, his meat might be sweeter," or like
Yeah.
different things like that. Yeah.
And I was like, the only thing saving this from being the biggest like incel movie of all time is the fact that it's a musical.
Yeah.
Because it's literally just two like antisocial freaks sitting in their little hovel being like, I want to kill that one. They're terrible. I hate them. Like if this wasn't a musical, you're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the subject matter. I mean, this movie is freaking graphic, dude. I was like kind of shocked when I first watched this. I was saying that earlier, like just by how gory it is, and like they're feeding people pies made out of human meat. It's fucking crazy.
That's when business is booming.
Yeah, and there's like a scene where people are just like gorging on this stuff, and you're like, oh my god, this is awful.
And some of the throat slashing is it's almost like Monty Python.
Yeah.
Where it's just geysers.
Quentin Tarantino levels of blood. Like
just absolute geysers of this just very red blood in this very desaturated London that we have.
Yeah.
That's all just like grays and
Gray.
blacks. Hardly
Reds
any
are really bright.
Yeah, and nothing else pops besides the reds.
Whenever they drop somebody down the chute, I like cringe because of the sound it makes when they hit the floor. I'm like, oh my god.
They never failed to show the cutaway of the body hitting the floor.
It's obviously like a dummy, but it's effective though, I thought.
The person I didn't expect to see that was great was Sacha Baron Cohen. As a fake Italian, we find out.
He had one of my favorite songs, the haircut scene, with that kid. I don't know who that kid is. I've seen him in things before. Let me see if I can find him real quick.
I mean, his name is Ed Sanders, and he's apparently in Hugo.
Okay, I swear I've seen him in something else too, but that kid, I like that kid's character. He kind of he's like an orphan child that works for Sacha Baron Cohen. And he ends up kind of teaming up with Johnny Depp, and they take
charge of him
wing.
after Sacha Baron Cohen is Sweeney Todd's first kill.
But she then like kind of sees him as a son later on and stuff.
In the barbershop. And man, the shaving song is great, and also it's very dark but also very funny. It's the like very pompous way he starts beating the shit out of the little boy at the end. For I guess not, I don't know what it, mostly just because he's mad that he got embarrassed. I think not for anything that the boy's actually done wrong.
We also have Guy with Face is what I call him. He is Jamie Campbell Bower. He's got one of those faces, like the Mew faces.
You know who I kept thinking he was?
Who?
Was a young Nicholas Hoult. Yeah,
they do look similar. I almost thought he was a Skarsgård at first.
Yeah.
But I was like, how many fucking Skarsgårds are there? There's a lot
of
them. And he has probably the creepiest song in the entire movie. The I Feel You, Joanna. But basically he falls in love with Johnny Depp's daughter. And as he's walking by the manor that she lives in, he sees her up in the window, and she's basically like, help me, man, I'm stuck in this bitch. And he's like, I got you. And
she says, oops, I dropped this key.
Oops. I'm showing my breasts. Oops.
I thought you were going to say Guy with Face is Mr. Beetle, played by Timothy Spall. I've never heard of this actor before.
Oh, also Guy with Face, yeah.
But he's the main henchman of the judge.
He's also in a Harry Potter movie. He's got a very Harry Potter face.
There's several Harry Potter actors. This is a Harry Potter reunion
Alan
movie.
Rickman, yeah. Is played by the judge. I don't know why we didn't say that earlier. But yeah, he's great.
And another standout song is the Beautiful Women song that's like the duet between Johnny Depp and Alan Rickman, as he almost murders them the first time, and then eventually when he actually does murder them, he brings the song back.
Pretty women
Silhouetted,
stay within you,
glances,
stay forever.
breathing lightly.
Pretty women, pretty women, blowing out the candles are coming out.
Back to Timothy Spell. He's got a funny face, but he's kind of fun to watch. I really liked him in this. Just the way he talks. I don't know. He had a way about him. I was like, I like you. I want to hear you speak more.
I am a friend of the ladies. You know?
Yeah.
He's like disgusting, but Sweeney Todd was able to just like get him up to get murdered just by saying, "I have a new perfume for you to try out."
He's like, oh, the ladies love perfume. Panache. Yeah, I thought everybody was pretty great in this. I think, probably Johnny Depp is obviously the standout performance. This is a very different kind of character for him. Usually he's doing a lot more talking, especially with like Jack Sparrow or something. He's a lot more whimsical and has a lot more charisma, but this is like completely lacking in charisma, this character. He was great. Good cast. Let's move on.
Shall I move on to It's an Art Bro, where we talk about aspects of the filmmaking process, like effects, music, costuming.
What's this?
It's an art project.
Okay, I like it. Picasso. Yeah, that way.
Tim Burton is the goth guy. He knows how to do this setting almost perfectly, especially with like the practical sets. In this, obviously, this is a different era from some of his older films, but there's a little bit more of that digital kind of CGI shit, especially with like the panned out shots of like the city. It looks a little ugly in certain parts, but I think for like the individual sets, especially like the restaurant and different set pieces like that, it looks so good. It's so detailed.
His barbershop with like the big moon window in the ceiling, so he can stare off into the the skyline of like sort of industrial London.
I love in the restaurant there's just like giant cockroaches everywhere and stuff, and it's just great.
Every time she pulls out a dish, she blows on it to get the dust off it.
Just giant fucking cockroaches.
I was afraid when I turned this on because the intro sequence is just all that like digital blood going down gears, and I was like, "This looks hideous." Yeah. I fear for this movie. It turned it around almost immediately, but I was like, "Oh God, what have I done?"
I really loved like this random shot of them on a beach. I think I used it for our thumbnail. That was just such a great shot to me. Just like the colors, the random colors popping in, but they still maintain that like really gothic look. It just looked great. Yeah.
I mean, sort of pop gothic has been. I mean, that is Edward Scissorhands. That is a lot of the earlier Johnny Depp and Tim Burton collabs.
Yeah.
There's a lot of digital stuff going on, but I think it's well used, like the way that they've just evaporated all the hues of color except for red, where it's very black and gray, and like cold blues come through, the blue moonlight or whatever, but everything is just so dark and cold, and they're all made up. Well, at least Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter are all made up with like very white face makeup with very dark circles around their eyes, and they just look very just like washed out, and almost like Johnny Depp looks undead. Like he looks like a walking corpse.
I love like the look of the furnace, because it's like you were saying, it's all it's really dark, but everything is saturated in orange. Like you really get those pops of colors and stuff from the furnace. And Johnny Depp looks really similar to his character from the vampire movie.
From Dark Shadows?
Yeah. Is that also a Tim Burton movie? The music, obviously, it's like, I mean, this is a musical. It's all about the music in this. Some of the songs worked for me, some of them didn't. I've never seen the play, so it's probably the same thing, but...
Yeah, I think it's just a musical thing where eventually, at some points during the 2 hours, I would be like, I am done hearing singing right now. Well, like some of them, occasionally they were exhausting. Most of them were really good, though.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I felt about Les Miserables, where it was like, it's a 3 to 4 hour long movie, and it's just motherfuckers singing. I'm like, after a while, you're like, this is brilliant and awesome, but I can't anymore.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to, hey, what are you trying to say?
take it away whenever you're ready.
All right, let me just get that last measurement on your.
Thank you. You know, I need this for the wedding.
Okay, well,
I need it really quickly. Like
it could take about a week to do.
It could take a week. So, what are you trying to say? He's trying to say that I'm so big, my bum is so big, you need to order to various countries far away to get enough material to make a pair of pants so I can fit my incredibly obese buttocks into a pair of your specially made little suits.
No, I mean I'm the only one working here this week.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, that would be great.
Let's do it. Let's move on to, hey, what are you trying to say? Where we talk about the ideas and themes. So, like I said before, this is very... if we said Donnie Darko was a little school shooter coded, like this just takes it, walks you right down, blade in hand.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit more justified, though, in this case. Because, like, I'm trying to save my daughter from a predator, you know?
Yeah.
So, and then also my wife died.
Yeah.
Or we think.
But the whole middle of this movie is Johnny Depp just murdering guys that came for a shave.
Yeah.
It's not concentrated.
Yeah.
He's just mad at the world, so he's taking out everyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the people that are part of this society he isn't welcome to or a part of.
I appreciated that it was all white men. I will
Yeah.
say that.
Well, they finally did something right.
Yeah. This is no Taxi Driver, that's for sure.
This is not the film for DEI hires. We kill white people in this movie. Almost exclusively. So, Tim Burton casts white people in his movie almost exclusively. Name a black guy in a Tim Burton movie. You can't.
I can. In Batman, there was Lando.
Lando's in Batman?
Lando was the mayor.
Oh.
Black guy.
Okay. I stand corrected. I want to say there was some people that, like, just in the way that anybody can share angry opinions, because that's all the internet is for anymore. It's the Beetlejuice being like a really white movie, Jenna Ortega aside. I think some people got mad at it.
Yeah.
And Tim Burton was like, fuck it, it's who I cast. That one lady, that's my girlfriend.
Did that movie do well critically?
Critically, it was like decently reviewed, and I think it made a decent amount of money.
I just like always ask, like, who is asking for this? I mean, I've seen Beetlejuice, but I never thought of it like as anything groundbreaking. Like, I guess it's just one of those things people love. Yeah. But have you ever seen Little Pet Shop of Horrors before? I love that film.
Little
also
Shop
a musical. Little Pet Shop of Horrors, isn't it? Little Pet Shop is the toys.
The little like prize box toys.
Little Shop of Horrors, excuse me.
Little Pet Shop of Horrors. Just
that would be a great film.
A bunch of messed up
puppies.
Yeah, that's actually okay. I'm going to spoil a VHS segment. There's this VHS segment in the new VHS Beyond, which all of them are like sci-fi except for this one, which I guess is technically sci-fi but does not fit. Like most of them are like, one of them's like aliens, alien invasion during somebody going skydiving.
Oh,
okay. Next one is like Bollywood star happens to be a cyborg robot. Next one, girl ends up in spaceship that goes to space. Next one, a bunch of like PETA activists go to this lady's weird doggy daycare, and in the basement she's like somehow doing experiments which is turning people into like man-sized dogs.
What the fuck? These all sound great.
Little Pet Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
That's the best one. That's the one directed by Justin Long.
Yeah.
He's in all kinds of stuff. He's in Tusk.
And you said that there was a Mike Flanagan one, right?
Yeah, that's the one where the girl goes on a spaceship, and I couldn't stand it.
Okay. Would you recommend that movie?
VHS Beyond? Oh, I didn't even mention the coolest one, which is it's basically a bunch of cops that are like this monster hunting squad, and then they just are like, hey, buddy, you look at the rookie. Oh, you coming along? Yeah, we're gonna bust his balls. And then they, go in there, and it's basically like House of the Dead overkill for like 10 minutes in this like abandoned house where they just nuke up a bunch of zombies with shotguns.
That's pretty fucking sick. Is it all like that POV shit though?
It's all found footage.
See, I don't like that.
That's the whole thing with VHS. Oh,
okay. Well, I'm not a big fan of the found footage shit. But.
Yeah, I mean it's it's a thing that requires a lot of logical leaps. Usually,
Yeah,
we're like, why is this person still holding a camera?
You got to film everything. Yeah. Hey, what are you trying to say? I mean, obviously, like the revenge is bad.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
Spoilers. Eventually, his lust for revenge leads to him killing his own wife, who is not dead. She's just like gone crazy post poisoning.
And you see this woman all throughout the movie too.
It's just some like street urchin on the.
She's super freaky looking.
Yeah, that's been yelling about how there's evil at the bakery.
Smoke in the chimney. And like
Her one of her song that she kept saying. What'd she keep saying? Like mischief.
Oh yeah.
Couldn't fucking stand it. That's when I needed like the Monty Python smash cut where they like haul her away and they're like, she's a witch.
They have her on the scale with a duck.
Yeah.
Did you see that twist coming?
Yes. Eventually, when she kept showing up, I was like, "This has got to be the lady's wife."
Yeah, the wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shall we move on to Let the Hate Flow Through?
Good. Use your aggressive feelings, boy. Let the hate flow through you.
This is where we air out our annoyances and our complaints. So the song which I like, where you showed me that image of them on the beach.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting the name of the song right now, but that sequence, because it is in like color, is like exactly the type of ugly Tim Burton that we got like just previous and after.
Yeah.
This, where the like CG is just like,
Yeah.
ugh, it looks yucky. I can't stand it. It's so like overdone and overblown and fake looking, and I'm sure he's not trying to recreate reality. Like, he knows it looks fake, but he's trying to do the like massive overblown things he's done before with like miniatures and like matte paintings, and he's trying to do it digitally. But when you do it digitally, it just looks like a lot of computers doing stuff.
It just obviously looks like a set.
Yeah.
And it's just not as convincing.
And it just looks like, as the British would call it, it looks like wank.
It looks
just
like
terrible.
wank. It kind of reminds me of the series of Unfortunate Events film with Jim Carrey. I don't know if you've ever seen that before.
I have not.
But I do love that film, but it also has that kind of gross CGI background kind of look, and it's not very pleasing to the eye.
There was a thing in a lot of these, and some of these I think are even like Tim Burton produced. Do you remember like The Cat in the Hat with Jim Carrey?
Yes.
And everything is like all those wild, wacky colors, and some of it's digital. Like,
It looks awful.
Yeah, and it's just like getting glazed over with like candy colors.
Yeah.
Like you want to die.
Well, it's like one of those things where also like it looks too clean, and it's just it looks like people are like everybody's wearing makeup. It's just that weird kind of glossy look. It doesn't. Yeah, it's not great.
Or even like I just watched this to make sure I still thought it was ugly. I watched a little bit of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and I didn't remember this because I don't know either of the films, Willy Wonka or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, like super well. But they replaced. There's the Bad Egg song and the Bad Egg in the original Willy Wonka, and then the Charlie Chocolate Factory, for some reason, it's now a bad nut, and there's a bunch of like CGI squirrels all sorting nuts, and they've determined that the little spoiled girl is a bad nut at the end when she gets flushed down the tube.
Interesting. Well, I know it was a book before too, so maybe that was in the book, or
I don't know, but either way, the change is not a positive change, and all the sets and everything just looks bigger, but it's all this like digital extension and digital multiplication of your extras.
And the Oompa Loompas are just one guy.
Yeah.
And it looks terrible. Yeah. Also, I remember, I haven't really watched, I don't think I ever finished the Charlie or the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but I did watch the Alice in Wonderland, and that was like a CGI nightmare. That movie looked awful. Yeah. But that was around that time. It was just like, that's how a lot of films looked. I blame George Lucas.
I think Alice in Wonderland was also supposed to be in 3D. And there's
that
a lot
was
of
the
there's
big
also
time. Yeah.
a lot of 3D movies. So once those don't translate, everything's like weirdly fuzzy on the edges because it's supposed to be like getting foregrounded by your glasses.
What was it, the IMAX 3D thing, where it was like that was the big thing back then?
Yeah, just so they could charge like $18 for a ticket. Guess what? You can do that now. Thanks, Obama.
I always got a headache watching IMAX films.
Yeah.
Especially with the 3D. Fuck that. I will never see a 3D movie ever again.
I can't remember. The only one I remember seeing is The Journey to the Center of the Earth with, what's his name? Mummy guy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't that Nick Cage was in that too? Wasn't he?
You're thinking of National Treasure.
No. Or was that Around the World in 80 Days?
That might be that.
Okay. My first ever 3D film, and it was with those glasses with the red and blue, was Spy Kids 3D.
Yeah.
That was my first ever 3D
Were
film.
you there when Lava Girl reached through the screen?
I was like, whoa, dude. Lava Girl.
Brought to you by Robert Rodriguez, the movie where the same director where Quentin Tarantino played a rapist in his vampire movie. He's a man of two, he has two angels on his shoulder. One of them says, make the goriest, most vile thing you've ever seen. And the other one says, make Spy Kids.
He's got a third angel, though. The other one that tells him to say the N-word. Insert Cat Williams.
Quentin Tarantino is no Steven Spielberg. Gotta give it to Cat Williams. Speaking truth for like 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even longer before then, but...
He told us about those Diddy parties.
He did.
He did.
He said, what did he say? He said, there was one of us, there was two actors, and one of us could give up doing our hair in the cornrows, and this, and that, and the other one, and if they did that, they would get $6 million.
Yeah, something like that.
One of them is me, and one of them is Ludacris.
Just casually name dropping people. I loved how they're like he was like they made Kevin Hart wear a dress. They tried to do the same with me, and I said hell no, I ain't doing that shit.
I feel like a lot of it, and Cat Williams is one of the funniest people on earth, but a lot of his career can be boiled down to him being on stage yelling "motherfucker," just
yeah. Or what is the one that he always says? He was like, "Don't be sorry, bitch. Be careful." Okay, back to
Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd,
the Demon Barber, Fleet Street. Should we do our final question?
Oh, first I wanted to say that I was first introduced to Sweeney Todd from the episode of The Office where Andy does the Sweeney Todd play.
Oh.
And he sings that song. The Sweeney Todd.
Andy Bernard.
Andy Bernard. The Nard dog.
He went to Cornell.
He did go to Cornell. It's a prestigious school.
Is the Nard dog on the Office recap podcast where the Office stars recap Office episodes?
You know what's kind of sad? Pam, I guess, had cancer.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of sad. They're all getting old. And apparently there's a spinoff show coming out, which should be great.
Everybody's excited for... I don't think it's a spinoff. I think it's an Australian remake.
Is it Australian?
Or some remake.
I thought it was coming out on
remake.
Peacock. But okay, if it's a different country, that makes sense. But
well, I mean, we did steal it from the English.
But it's not about a paper company. It's about a newspaper company.
Current events?
Okay, Sweeney Todd. Let's answer the final question.
Is this a perfect movie?
You lost a baby brother. Perfect in every way.
I had a baby brother. I had a little baby brother. And he was perfect. Perfect in every way.
Nar.
I was kind of inclined to say maybe yes. Really? I liked it a lot. It's like I said before, it's kind of a tall order to get me to sit through a musical, and I enjoyed it a lot. I don't know. I just don't have a lot of negatives. I kept being pleasantly surprised by it. Maybe that's just a function of my expectations. Okay. We don't have to put it on the list.
No, I mean, I agree with you. I was pleasantly surprised, too, when I first watched it. I was just shocked by how fucking violent it was. Yeah. And I was not expecting that. So that was pretty neat. And it looked like a lot of work went into it. I just don't think I'll ever watch it again. You know?
Yeah. No, I think I could go back to it. This might be
so?
a semi-regular, it's a good Halloween alt
Yeah.
type vibe.
Well then,
If you're not going straight axe murderer. Although, like, literally, if you frame this story slightly differently, this is a slasher film.
It is a slasher film. Yeah, I mean, it literally is a slasher
It's like
film.
The new one, what is it called? When something evil. When evil lurks? No. I don't know. It's the one where they're following the slasher guy.
When Evil Lurks, yeah.
No, it's a different In a Violent Nature. That's what it's called. And that all starts because a man steals, the two teens are like, look at that amulet there, bro. They're like, you should leave it there. And the dude's like, no, I'll take it. And then 2 minutes later, a fist punches through the ground and then proceeds an hour and a half of teens getting murdered.
That's crazy.
This movie, there's a judge being like, look at that babe over there. Bet I could get that babe.
Underage babe.
Well, was she underage at that time?
I mean, she was younger.
Not the daughter. I'm talking about the original kidnapping.
The wife, okay.
And she was like, can I have that babe over there? And he went and did it. And then 15 years later comes the, like, reanimated corpse of
Sweeney Todd. And he punches his fist through a meat. Yeah.
Pretty woman. Okay, are we going to put this on the list?
Let's put it on the list. Fuck it.
Fuck it, you're on the list. Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. I didn't think that would be the first Tim Burton movie to get on our list.
Well, we haven't done any. This is our first one.
I thought it'd be Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
I thought it'd be Nightmare Before Christmas.
I thought it would be Ed Wood, starring Johnny Depp.
I thought it would be Sleepy Hollow,
starring
starring Johnny Depp.
I thought it would be Big Eyes.
Isn't that like that anime?
No, I think you're thinking of Alita Battle Angel, but this is another.
Big Eyes.
But there's another one that's just, yeah, it's Tim Burton movie. It's just about a girl with big eyes, as far as I understand.
Okay.
And she looks like Alita Battle Angel.
Okay.
But it is not Alita Battle Angel.
All right.
And nobody's seen this movie, I'm pretty sure.
I just like correlated Big Eyes with anime. So
I thought it was going to be Frankenweenie.
I thought it was going to be Edward Scissorhands.
I thought it was going to be Mars Attacks, where they come here and they blow us up.
Quick, name more Tim Burton movies.
And we're about to run out.
Shit. Batman.
Big Fish. It's got Ewan McGregor. He's Obi-Wan Kenobi. Remember, it's Star Wars.
What other Tim Burton movies are there?
That's about it.
All right.
Look, we did it. Give yourself a pat on the back.
I want to clap.
Okay. Sweeney Todd, they're on the stage right now, and we're throwing roses at him. Good job.
Encore.
Wow, what a film. I don't know if we did a great job of recapping why it was good or really succeeded in any way doing this podcast, but it's on the list now, so it's a matter of record.
Quick, talk about the philosophical nature of Sweeney Todd, the Demon Barber of Fleet Street. Why is it incredible?
You should murder people.
All right.
And then eat them.
And you should say, look at that guy and be like, he's bad and I'm better than he is. Mm-hmm. I'm going to make him into a meat pie. Next week, we will be doing Bram Stoker's Dracula, which I am looking forward to.
I was just thinking of like a YouTube series where you just take Sweeney Todd like little clips and you do a little voiceover where you're like, like that guy looks tasty. I think I put him in a meat pie. As they're doing the song where they're looking out the window at everyone. That guy looks juicy.
It's just like a time lapse video, like of some random city, just people walking.
It's the Sweeney Todd movie, but it's that new Robert Zemeckis movie where the camera's in one location and it's just the camera in the corner of the bake shop.
Oh, fuck. I just saw the trailer for that today, and I was like, this looks like such pandering bullshit.
Are you ready to cry?
Hey, Dad. I'd like you to meet Margaret.
Nice to meet you, Margaret.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Young.
Time sure does fly, doesn't it?
Sure does.
Take a straight and stronger course to the corner of your life.
We had such a good life, didn't we?
Hey, is your life deep?
Fucking Tom Hanks.
You remember getting old and then being young?
So
Isn't
heartfelt.
It deep? Isn't it deep?
It just looked, and then they did that really awful like de-aging thing. It looked so bad. I was like, what the fuck? And that's not the first movie to do that camera thing.
No.
And people are like, I've seen stuff online.
I've
Like,
watched
oh my God.
Paranormal Activity.
Yeah. But I mean, that didn't have one stationary camera the whole time. But I think there was a film that did the same type of concept and probably better. I think that movie comes out Thursday. But anyways.
His magical idea. What if we took away one of the elements that makes a film interesting? The cinematography and framing. What if we just didn't worry about that?
Listen, I think it could be well done if you have a compelling story.
It's like Robert Zemeckis sat down and was like, you know, they sometimes say that like barriers, you know, can spark creativity.
Yeah.
You know, the shark in Jaws wasn't working, so they couldn't show the shark, and that resulted in an all-time great and all-time successful film. He was like, what if I just had a film that had one tripod?
I mean, honestly, it would be like a play. Technically.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do like Fences like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already a play, but you could film Fences like that, you know?
What if we did The Hateful Eight, but it was just people arguing in widescreen? Never zoom, never a handheld, never close up.
You couldn't do Hateful Eight like that. No.
It just seems like a bad idea.
Yeah. But you saw that Tom Hanks got closer to the camera.
Oh.
So you see all that emotion on him. And it, you know, you can feel that. Next week,
we're going to clip in the clip of Tom Hanks being mobbed by the paparazzi and him going, "You almost knocked over my wife."
I'll bring some items. I bought some items.
How you doing?
It's been a long time.
Be careful, Tom.
Watch out. Move. I don't need my time. It's been a long time, Tom. How you been?
Whoa.
Stop it.
Whoa.
What are you doing?
Back the off.
What are y'all doing?
All right.
I couldn't see him being angry. I've never
I
seen
think
that video.
that might be the only time he's ever been angry.
He looks like a sweet guy.
He watches those Chet Hanks videos and he's like, "That's my boy."
Apparently there's like a big conspiracy that he's like a predator too or something. I've seen stuff about that, but I'm pretty sure it's like Republican weirdos that are doing that kind of stuff.
I mean, who knows? Could be, but it also feels like whenever someone's so nice, people have to start making ideas that that they are somewhere deep in their soul a bad
it's
person.
like Ellen DeGeneres, like she's always smiling and looking like a fucking elf all the time, and then you see like apparently in real life she's just a massive asshole.
I did know that before it became like a thing.
Yeah.
That Ellen was like rude behind the scenes.
It's like The Boys, but in real life.
It's like there's a whole Peacock show, I think, devoted to this. Or is it a Max show? It's the Max show that is just about the creation of superhero films.
Oh.
It's the snake eating its own tail of the finale of superheroes dying. Which do you know what's putting the nail in the coffin? Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
Oh my God.
Venom's a horse now.
Listen, I for one kind of love the Venom movies. They're so bad, but they're kind of enjoyable. I watched the last one not too long ago. What was it? Let There Be Carnage or whatever.
Oh yeah, the new one's Venom: The Last Dance. Sorry.
And that one is so bad, but it's like kind of fun to watch. And I'm like, I don't hate it.
I think we saw the first Venom together in the
we were
theaters.
laughing quite a bit.
Yeah, because
it was so ridiculous.
He gets in that pool and he eats the crabs.
And he's like, "Oh shit!" Yeah, the Marvel movies, man. I don't want to get too deep into this, but I'm like, what are they? Are they still? They're doing like the Robert Downey Jr. They're bringing him back as Dr. Doom.
Yeah.
I just don't care. What else can you do? It's never going to be the way it was before.
No.
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
They're never gonna just like shut it down for a while.
No.
Like
and we talked about this before.
This is like when the westerns died out. Like eventually, Eventually, it may die out, but like especially like what the hell are you watching on Disney Plus if you're not doing constant Marvel stuff?
Yeah,
you know,
right?
It's
there's Star Wars now, but even they've slowed down on Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, but like, how do you pivot?
Yeah.
Where does it go?
Yeah.
Because that is the property.
I think they should go back to trying to make more kids films. As far as like the animated stuff, I mean, the Spider-Man movies are
Sony.
super popular. And then you have that robot movie that just came out that did really well. And
Wild
it's got
Robot.
this interesting animation with the blend of 2D and 3D stuff. Disney should go back to their roots of like, let's make animated films again.
No, they're like, let's make Lightyear. The reboot based on the real man that inspired the toy of Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
Aren't you excited, kids?
Well,
Hey,
that's the thing.
Watch Mufasa, The Last Dance, or whatever the hell it's called.
Disney is just like it's just that the nostalgia machine where it's just gonna keep pumping out the stuff that they've already made, and then or make a animated film into a live action one or whatever. But they just make bad decisions. I don't understand why it's so hard. But hey, but it was funny because like DreamWorks did it with Puss in Boots.
Yeah.
They did the nostalgia bait, and they made it work. I don't know how the fuck they did that, but and I think arguably that movie is better than any of the Shrek films. So, I don't know. It's interesting. I actually think that we are in a renaissance of horror films.
For sure.
Have been for maybe the past 4 or 5 years.
Something like that.
Ever since Heredity came out, which is probably almost a decade ago, I think.
Hereditary is, I think, like 18 or 17.
I thought it was like 16, 15 or 16.
I could be wrong.
Um,
Cabin in the Woods is like 2013, though, so I feel like it's a good distance from there.
Yeah. But, yeah, I just think a lot of interesting horror films. They're like going back to the roots of being weird. That's what I like. Think about like Longlegs. I still haven't seen that, but it's weird stuff, and I just appreciate that.
I saw a tweet. I don't know how true it actually would be, but it just said that like there's never going to be like horror fatigue compared to like superhero fatigue because it's still a genre where it's all about just people doing whatever the weird shit is. Like Terrifier 3. I've never watched Terrifier movie. I don't necessarily think I ever want to watch Terrifier movie, but guess what? It beat down the Joker.
Yeah, it did.
Open massively for a truly independent film to open the way it did.
Yeah,
is pretty unheard of, and it's kind of just seems to be based off sort of the viral marketing of Art the Clown.
Yeah,
and that kind of just inviting people in.
I think he got popular, or that movie got popular around the time. Remember, there was that big trend of like clowns, people dressing up as clowns and stuff, and so people were just whatever reason into clowns during that time, and then I think it became like a cult classic, and then this new one, for whatever reason, it's doing great.
I think they determined that was viral marketing for the It reboot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of like a couple of years ago when they had the Smile people posted behind like sitting right behind the home plate at the World Series, and the lady's just doing the smile into the screen for 2 hours.
Yeah. That was great marketing. Yeah, I forgot about the It movies. Those films were okay. Yeah, but I think, I just like the direction that horror is going as of recent. I think I just love like people are being creative again as far as like our plots. It's not the same torture porn kind of stuff. I mean, Terrifier is doing that, but it's like Terrifier does that thing where it's like a B movie. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like harkens back to like the 80s, those really terrible horror films. But I just like that people have interesting ideas. Like there's this movie called The Heretic coming out that I'm really interested in. I hope it does well. It's a A24 film, but it's just the plot just sounds interesting. It's like these women trying to get through this labyrinth under this guy's house. Just cool stuff. I don't know. So I like the direction that horror's going. Yeah, next week, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Looking forward to that.
Little bonus episode.
Yes.
For Halloween.
And then that should wrap up our Halloween special. So thanks for tuning in. We will see you then.
Bye.
Tu cheveux de face, tu cadavre, required a grace, required a flair. For if you slip, you nick the skin, you clip the chin, you rip the lip a bit beyond the repair.